Today we're going to be looking at Truth Killer, album by Sevendust. Here's the CD. Has the comes with the physical disc and a little booklet with some art and the lyrics and thanks from the band. I do appreciate the albums still have the little booklets in them, even though they're not really necessary. But they make things a little bit nicer. So this is the 14th studio album from Sevendust, and throughout this entire album, each track displays the skill that could really only be achieved by time and dedication that it took to get to 14 albums. This band, they're truly masters of their craft. And throughout the album, the dynamic interplay of light and dark themes just solidify this album, making me go through a range of emotions from verse to verse, from track to track. And each song on this album collectively contributes to an overarching cohesion that just elevated this album beyond the sum of its parts. I love the way this, like each track is put together and how each song feels unique but part of something bigger. And it was really hard for me to pinpoint which track was my favorite. Pretty much like each song on this album feels like it could be a single, and there's just no duds on this album. And like most albums have like one or two tracks that just don't really do anything. While listening to this album, I found myself just thinking like on each track I'm thinking this is my favorite song, and then the next one plays, I'm like no, this is my favorite. And one of the things about the songs that on this album that elicit this type of emotion is the choruses. The choruses hit hard, and every song has a chorus that just has me singing along, either out loud or in my head. I love the way like each track is sort of like put together. You have the verse with usually they'll have like a steady drum beat, and like guitars are interlaced throughout it, and a lot of times they play along with like the placement of the instruments. Like you have a guitar like ding it over here, then ding, and it's like plays around with the placement, and like the way it's produced, it just sounds really clean, and you can just parse out all the instruments. And like they have the verse, and then they ramp up with a pre-chorus, and the pre-chorus where you're listening to it like feels like a chorus, and then it goes into the chorus, and it's like, oh my god, like you're just listening to it, and you just have to sing along to it. And then they do this thing where it's like you have the verse, then the chorus, and then, or the verse, the pre-chorus, and the chorus, and then back to another verse, then like a bridge, or they have like a palate cleanser, and everything is just hits hard, and each moment on the album just segues perfectly into the next moment. And I don't even like notice the shifts in the tones really, and the way it's structured. I don't really notice them unless I'm like sitting down listening to the album, and like reading along with the lyrics and like analyzing it. Like when you're just listening to it in your car or with the headphones or whatever, it's just like everything just feels just so well produced and seamless, and it's just each moment goes from one to the next. And this throughout this album they play with this like light and dark theme and this like order and chaos and good versus evil, and it pushes and pulls on various emotions. And and listening to the song and reading the lyrics, it's like really hard to interpret the meanings of these songs, and there's like layers of intent behind how like the songs are written and how like the singer LeJohn sings those lyrics. So I got interrupted by my dog, so let me see where I was at. So the point I was trying to make was the lyrics, the way the lyrics play with the themes of light, dark, good versus evil, chaos versus order, all these dynamic things, has it brings a cohesion to the album and makes brings everything together. And the way LeJohn, the singer, sings the the way he sings the lyrics just brings a depth to them. The way like it's like it does this thing where it's like something really dark, but he's singing it in an uplifting way. Just kind of like it just makes you think about things. Um, if I were to offer any criticism to this album, one of the things that it really just didn't grab me at first. At first glance, a lot of the tracks on this album felt generic and formulaic, and it really took me like one or two listens for this album to grab me. Uh, and even though I found this album's cohesion to be an overall strength, I do feel that some of these songs could have done a little bit more deviation from their formula. Um, but overall, I feel like this album is one of my favorite albums of the year, and I would give it a 9 out of 10. And I'm definitely going to keep it downloaded on my MP3 player. And this is definitely going to go into a rotation of songs, of albums that I listen to. So that is Sevendust, Truth Killer, a really good album. Please like, subscribe, follow, and I will see y'all in the next one.